Okay, call the meeting to order. For today's meeting, as you can tell, I got a little bit of a raspy voice, so I'm probably kind of cutting in and out, so I'm going to have Joni and myself are going to kind of go in each separate resolutions, and hopefully we can get through it all. So the adoption of the agenda is the first matter. Be it resolved that the agenda for the April 17th, 2018 meeting be accepted as presented with the addition of the rural water feasibility study under general business and tile drainage application under general business. Can I have somebody please move that? Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Bach, discussion? Call for vote, all in favor? Carried. Confirmation of minutes. Be it resolved that the minutes of the March 20th, 2018 regular meeting be hereby approved as circulated. Can somebody please move that? Councilor Gullett, seconder. Councilor Bach, discussion? Any errors or omissions? Not. Call for the vote. All in favor? Carried.
Please.
You, your turn.
Okay, under Finance General Accounts, be it resolved that the April 12th, 2018 general accounts payable, being check numbers 2898 to 2962, in the amount of $169,234.48, be hereby approved.
Can I have somebody please move that? Councilor McDonald, second by Councilor Parity. Discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that the direct deposit 0036, being staff payroll for the period March 12th to March 23rd, 2018, in the amount of $11,071.60, be hereby approved.
Somebody please move that. Councilor Bach, second by Councilor Gullett. Discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that direct deposit 0037, being the council indemnities for the period January to March 2018, in the amount of $13,760.99, be hereby approved.
Somebody please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Bach. Discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that direct deposit 0038, being staff payroll for the period March 26th to April the 6th, 2018, in the amount of $11,364.04, be hereby approved.
Somebody please move that. Councilor Parity, seconder Councilor Bach. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Utility account, be it resolved that the April 12, 2018 utility accounts payables being check numbers 328 to 337 in the amount of $12,060.04 be hereby approved. Somebody please move that. Councilor Bach, seconder. Councilor Gullett. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the statement of revenue and expenditure report to March 31st, 2018 be received as presented. Can we please move that? Councilor Bach, seconder. Councilor McDonald. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Delegations. We haven't got our delegations.
Delegation is not here yet, and the public hearing is scheduled for 1:15.
So let's should go maybe down to communications.
We could do that. Just have to let me get there. Under communications, we have information from AllNet with respect to their Alert Ready and Connect program. There was information from Arbor Barber's Tree and Garden Service on a proposal if we needed them. The Assiniboine Hills Conservation District gave us information on the water testing program, as well as climate resiliency capacity building engagement sessions. And the province is really encouraging members to attend. Association of Manitoba Municipalities, the June district meetings. A reminder that we would need to have any resolutions in by June the 1st. The Association of Manitoba Municipalities, we've received information on resolution follow-up. So where previously we had the acknowledgement, now we actually have some responses. Copies of those are available in the office if anybody wants to see them, and they are online. CP Rail gave a grain service update dated March the 22nd. The Disabilities Issue Office, Department of Family, is giving some funding opportunities, and their links are included in the document. Enbridge gave some information on community investment funding, and from the bit of research that our Public Works Manager has done, we might be able to take a look at doing something with our emergency program under this funding. And I've also had a request from one of the councillors to look into whether or not perhaps our community centers are something that could receive some funding under this, so we'll check into that when next the representative is out. FCM gave us communiques dated March the 29th and April the 9th. Manitoba Infrastructure provided an update on their staffing. Manitoba Infrastructure also spoke about the Alert Ready program. Manitoba Municipal Relations giving some information on additional sessions related to Bill 19, which is changes to the Planning Act. The Minister of Municipal Relations also gave us information on Bill 19, which is the changes to the Planning Act. New Horizons for Senior program, there's a call for applications, and links are provided where people could make application. The RCA Museum has sent out their Barrage April edition. RCA Museum also sent out an invitation to attend their gallery opening, 1918, the last 100 days. Richardson Pioneer gave information about a donation that they made in the amount of $10,000 to the fire department. Silver Dirt Works, Inc. provided information on a mowing proposal. Seniors and Healthy Aging Branch provided some information on their Mentee-Mentor program. The Southern Chiefs Organization, Inc. provided an invitation to attend a forum that they're holding on May the 8th and 9th. Southwest Regional Development Corporation provided two pieces of information. One is their spring update, and the second is a meeting with the purpose of dissolution of the corporation. And that is the end of the communications.
Okay. Be it resolved that the above noted communications be received. Somebody please move that. Councillor Brock, seconder Councillor Gullett. Any discussion on that? Call for vote. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so let's go back.
And we could hear our delegation first before the public hearings.
Mr. Parsons, did you wish to come to the delegation table, please?
This will be short and sweet. Democracy, one person, one vote. The election practices in this municipality, one person, multiple votes. How do you justify this?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but
Joni, you do know what I'm referring to.
I do, Your Worship. What it is that in the regulation, when the new municipality was established, it was established that there would be 3 wards, and your opportunity would be to vote for 2 councillors per ward. So it's not that you have the opportunity for multiple votes, but you have the opportunity to vote for 2 councillors.
Okay, and the side effect of that is, in the last municipal election, I believe there was about 200 votes cast, 200 ballots cast. Out of 200 ballots, there was 183 for you, Ivan, I do believe, 180 for you, Bob, and 30 for me, out of 200 ballots. So how do you just justify this math?
Good question, that's,
Your worship, when you have the opportunity to vote for up to two, with 400 votes, you could have, or with 200 ballots cast, you could have 400 votes, but you could have any number up to 400.
So in other words, if you have a collective group of people that voted in unison, they could rule this town, which is what's happening here.
Your worship, that is democracy if people vote all in
Democracy is
one way.
one vote.
well, the municipal, as she's explained, that you have two councillors, you get the two votes there.
Yes, you choose to do this. There are alternative methods. You can have one vote, one person, but you choose not to do it that way.
Well,
I just want to know why.
That's just the way that the municipality is and has enforced the vote.
So
If you have,
choose this.
if you have concerns with it though, Mr.
I
Parsons,
do.
then
I've raised them
my-
before. They've been met with nothing but obstacles.
okay, so what we would suggest is you get a hold of the ombudsman. The ombudsman will be the one that will check through to see whether we have complied with the act and will do the investigation accordingly. So if you bring that up to them, they will do that investigation.
You are complying with the act. I'm just wondering why you are complying with this act.
Well, because it's the act and we're complying with the act, so we're
Okay, there's
going on.
multiple methods of voting. Why are you giving people two votes?
We just explained that to you, so.
No, you didn't. You just got around explaining.
Mr. Parsons, I'm not going to sit here and we're not gonna rehash and hash. If we follow the municipal act, that's what we're obligated to do, that would be done, and at that point, it's over. As I say, you have an outlet for that.
And your worship, I could comment that if at any point residents of the municipality wanted to change the ward system
Yeah,
or how members are elected, the opportunity is there. It has to be done at least 180 days in advance of the election. And in this instance, we would actually have to request the province to amend the regulation because this is set out in the regulations.
yes, but he's referring back to the previous election, it wasn't done, so. In any case, be it resolved that the presentation by Glenn Parsons be received. Have someone please move that. Councillor Parity, seconder. Councillor Bach. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. You wanna go?
I would, your worship. Next, under the agenda would be the order of public hearings. They are scheduled to commence at 1:15, so I'll talk slow. That clock says it's after 1:15, mine does not. The public hearings that we are going to be considering are a variation and a conditional use, both for the same piece of property being the southeast quarter of 27-819. These public hearings are part of the subdivision that council approved at their last council meeting. And so in one more minute, I will see if there's anybody who is interested in coming forward to address city council.
You have to do the resolution first for the year.
We would. And council, I would note, just for your information, the applicant is in attendance should there be any questions, but I'm not sure that there will be.
I'll do the resolution then.
Okay.
Be it resolved that the regular meeting of council be recessed to allow council to hold a public hearing to receive representations from any person who wished to make them in respect to an application for variation and conditional use on part of southeast quarters 27-819 WPM McKay. Will somebody please move that? Councillor Rome, seconded by Councillor Block. All in favor? Carried.
Okay, your worship, it is now 1:14 and a bit. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and address city council with respect to the variation or the conditional use for this piece of property?
Councillor Boyd.
Point of order, when did we become a city council?
I'm sorry, that comes out automatic from me. You can't take 30 years away
I
from me.
just thought I was hearing that, I just wanted to know it for sure.
Call yourself what you'd like. Your worship, I do not see anybody who is wanting to come forward.
Okay, whereas all representatives in regard to the variation application number V11 18 to reduce the minimum site area from 80 acres to 59 acres for the residual property on part of the southeast quarter 270819 WPM McKay have been dealt with. Therefore, be it resolved that the public hearing be concluded. Have somebody please move that. Councillor Bach, second by Councillor Rome. All in favor? Carried. Okay,
Want me to take this one?
sure.
Whereas all representatives in regards to conditional use application C118 to allow on part of the southeast quarter 27-819 a non-farm dwelling in the ag general zone have been dealt with. Therefore, be it resolved that the public hearing be concluded and council resume its normal order of business.
Sorry, please move that. Councillor Bach, second by Councillor Gullett. All in favor? Carried. Okay, petitions, we have none. Committee reports. Okay, Ward 3, Councillor Gullett, you have a written report. Do you want to add anything to it?
Your Chairman, the only thing I'd add to it is I had a call from the Enbridge representative again today, just following up that there's money available for grants and stuff while that pipeline's going through, and he was hoping that we would get some applications in.
I hope so too.
And I told him I'd forward it to the rec commission and to the daycare if they had something going on to maybe get on with it.
Okay. Okay, Ward 2, Councillor Bach. You have
Mr. Chair, all I got to say is I went to the convention, I attended the water services and harassment, and got educated on that. And I had I have a few concerns about the water co-op, and I had to do a lot of thinking over the weekend in preparation, so. I think that was about it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rome, you have a written report. Did you want to add anything to it?
Yes, I'll just add to it that I attended the Municipal Weed Control Supervisors Association meeting in Carberry. And also, just further to what Councillor Gullett had to say, I had some questions asked by ratepayers with regard to what was available through Enbridge, and by looking at their website and looking under their funding area, it would appear that it isn't, their funding is more designed for emergency preparedness, those types of things, as opposed to it gives you a list, and it is pretty definite that it isn't for sports or community type situations as far as community halls and that type of thing. So I think that, it's well fitted to emergency preparedness, it's well suited to fire department, those types of things. But it does clearly show what they will consider and what they won't consider.
Okay. Councillor Gullett.
Could I just reply to that? We actually met with the representatives for Enbridge at the AMM meetings, as well as he phoned me this morning, and he made it very clear that those criteria on that website, under the circumstance, are not being followed, that recreation and stuff, everything's open for applications. And could I add to my old report sometime?
Okay.
I just wanted to comment, I was spent, yesterday afternoon, I was out on the road, the boys were working with our new gravel reclaimer. Pretty impressive how much gravel it will bring out of the ditch, put on the road. It's gonna take some practice, but it really does find a lot of gravel.
That's good to hear. Councillor Rome, anything else?
No.
Okay. Councillor McDonald, you have a written report. You want to add anything to it?
Just wanted a couple things. I went to the meetings last week, and I took a civility at work one, which was much to do with harassment and things. It was very informative. And also, I took the asset management one, and it's the way that we're probably going to have to start doing, and it was kind of let you know some of the stuff we're going to have to do. And it's a big going to be a big part of our what we have to do. So they sure stressed on it, so.
Yeah, especially if they start tying our gas tax to it.
For sure. And the only other one I have is summer staffing. Do we have any wording on it yet or anything?
Did you want to
Green
answer
team
that?
or
Through you,
anything?
your worship. We've made application, but I don't believe that we have received a response as of yet.
Okay,
Okay. Is everything, Councilor Dunn?
that's it. Thank you.
Councilor Parity?
Just one thing, ratepayers have been commenting on some of the streets in town. They use asphalt streets are breaking up pretty bad this year, it seems, so. Fixing them or doing something with them this year, so.
Well, I can comment one part of that, and that's what we talked to the minister about. MIT has a responsibility for the road right through here, and the main drag up through by the Mutual. It's in terrible shape, been repaired. Their budget aren't very good this year, so I don't foresee that we'll get a lot for that. But we made a pleading to the minister himself, and we'll see what comes about that. But the rest of the streets, we'll let the Public Works comment on that later. If that's okay. Anything further? Okay, I have my written report, CIO's report, anything further?
Nothing further to add?
Finance report, Elaine, anything to add? No? Public Works,
Nothing further to add.
okay,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
could I make a comment to the Public Works report? You flagged the culverts, indicating where the culverts are.
Yep.
Are you going to extend it to GPSing it and marking the sizes out for them?
Yeah, that's all part of the asset management.
Yeah, or just-
It's that, and it's kind of a visual too for the guys.
Because water stewardship, they like to have that kind of information if we ever had to
Yeah.
replace and do culverts, they like to have it on a map or something to
It's an
indicate where everything
intention.
is.
It'll be all pinned out on a digital map and all the
Yeah.
information on that culvert and that location, so. It gives visibility for council too down the road to say, 2020, we've got 10 culverts that potentially could be changed out, or
Yeah.
it's just better for budgets and.
Because apparently, through the water services, there was a reference to something that the phone calls are not being, approved phone calls is not being accepted anymore. You gotta have documentation and I'm just curious that the more information we give to water services and the government, where it is and everything else, the quicker that we can get our applications back. So you're doing a fine job, sir.
Okay. That it, Councilor Bott? You're good?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Wawanesa Public Works? Nothing to add. You want to comment on the roads at all through?
Well, I've just been kind of waiting for it to warm up here a little bit, so that when we go, if everything works out, we're going to start filling holes tomorrow.
Okay. That answer your question, Councilor Parity?
Well, I'm just
So
repeating
what-
concerns.
No, I know, but just so that you know. that,
I know the situation. I realize you can't patch them.
Yeah, yeah.
Your worship, could I make a comment on Mr. Wilton's report? I had noticed, Drew, that included in there was the possibility that we might have to replace filters or whatever that we hadn't been anticipating this year.
Filter media, yeah.
Just to let council know, if we were going to have to go that route, probably what I would have to do is get a resolution from council that we send a letter to the minister asking to withdraw money from the utility reserve. There is money in the reserve, but we hadn't included it in the budget this year. We weren't anticipating having to switch them out this year, but there is a process there if we needed to do it.
So just advance notice, we're gonna have to do it. Just make sure you let Tony know. And
Well, so far it's hanging on, but we have seen it already starting to, let spurts of iron go into the system. That's generally a good indication that the media is starting to deplete.
Please give me a pen for a moment. I'll just make note of myself to check with the minister's office and see how long the approval process might be.
If I could make one more comment, with all of our water leaks fixed now, we are down to a consumption of anywhere from 28 to 30,000 gallons a day. I had to replace one of the submersible pumps, finally give out in one of the wells at the park. now with our water leaks as low as they are, we can maintain, you know, a well level that we weren't being able to do before.
That's good, good to hear. Very good. Thank you. Fire chief's report is included. The vet report, Councillor Rome.
I
sorry.
just wondered if Drew wanted to take the opportunity to explain that sleeve that he brought with him.
Oh, if you so wish.
This is, the guy I get out to find our water leaks is selling, it's a plastic coating that they reline water mains with, and it's supposed to renew your water pipe. I don't know, they didn't really give a year, how many years, but this is supposed to make your water main just like new. It's a very hard coating, and it's very easy to be done, and it's not very disruptive to anybody's place. You dig a hole at both ends of the street, cut a little section out, and it's all done by a pig to put it through there.
Just a question, Drew, when you do a section, how long does it take to cure so you can put it back into operation?
They said about 3 days.
So there would be a disruption of
Yeah, you'd have
service.
to run a temporary water line or something,
Yeah.
and just garden hoses or something to feed houses so that they'd still have water, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, Councilman, this vet report?
Nothing to report.
Okay.
Oh, your worship, I just asked Drew, is a lot of communities doing that now, or is this something new that they've just started?
This is something that's new that they're getting going. It's, you know, it saves a lot of money digging a whole street up, especially with a lot of water lines in the cities and stuff. It's all in the center of the streets. So this is an easy way for them to renew their water line, and, you know, it's not disruptive to the traffic and all that.
For the asphalt.
Yeah.
So what about where it branches off into homes, or?
Apparently it goes by they go through there and they map them all out anyway, but apparently it goes by so fast that it doesn't cover in your line,
Oh,
your service line.
oh, that's cool. Is there any kind of warranty with it or anything, like,
Yeah, they have warranty with
do
it.
they? And you said a cost?
$300 a meter. And the smallest pipe they can do is 6-inch.
So it's limited for us, but
Yeah, we have 2 streets in town that are they're cast lines like this that are 6-inch. That's Water Street and Park Street.
further?
Cool.
Andy Transit? Councilor McDonald?
Just, your worship, we, just to let you know, we haven't received we just got the paperwork to get the licensing on our new van, so, but it's a matter of getting that in place. We'll know more tonight, we have a meeting at 6, so we'll know more, what's going on with that part of it, so.
Okay. Okay, be it resolved that the verbal and written committee reports be received. If somebody please move that. Councilor Block, seconder Councilor Gully. All in favor? Carried. Okay, bylaws. You want to start with that, please?
Good. Under bylaws is bylaw 02-2018, which is the election campaign expenses and contribution bylaw. It received first reading at the last meeting. Motion is, be it resolved that bylaw 02-2018, being the election campaign expenses and contributions bylaw, be read a second time.
Somebody please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconded Councilor Block. Discussion? None, call for vote. All in favor? Carried.
Next resolution is, be it resolved that bylaw 02-2018 be read a third and final time, and this will be a recorded vote.
So, can somebody please move it? Councilor Block, seconded Councilor Gullett. Questions? None, call for the vote. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, we should do this one too.
Okay. Under unfinished business, we have the report on the municipal partnerships opportunity. This was information that was provided to us from the Southwest Post. Included in my report, because council had asked me to take a look at this. I've kind of outlined where our current funding sources are. I certainly have no objection to doing additional work with the Southwest Post. I can't do it as part of my required legislative advertising, and that's according to our municipal services officer. And certainly from my, and this is my perspective, I have a priority on getting some of our webpage updates done and our alert system ready to go. We had information earlier in the meeting from the province as well as from Alert Ready themselves, where the opportunity would exist for us to do some communicating out to ratepayers. So that to me is where my priority was, and that was what was included in the budget where we had increased the computer software requirement. But I certainly am not opposed to doing anything additional if council wants to authorize either an expenditure under advertising or whatever to accommodate that. And I don't have a resolution. I wasn't sure where council was going to go with that.
Well, should be dealing with it though, so do a resolution to, I guess the resolution could say to go forward with the proposal.
Recognizing that it would be an over expenditure from our existing budget.
Right.
Just give me a moment to word it. So the way I have it worded is, be it resolved that the proposal from the Southwest Post be accepted, whereby the funds will show as an over expenditure to the advertising budget.
Somebody wish to move that? Councillor Rome, seconder. Councillor McDonald. Discussion? Councillor Rome?
Chairman, I wouldn't like to see us commit to this totally in this budget year. However, I would like us to consider more fully the readership and the number of hits that the Southwest Post gets in relation to what our website gets. I don't think, this is just a personal thought, I don't think that our website is getting the readership or the hits that would make it as useful as we would like it to be. Do we have a way, and I would ask our CAO that, are we tracking the hits on our website, or do we have any?
There is an opportunity to receive reports on what the hits are.
Yeah,
And
but we don't
we
know
can
at this point.
certainly, I didn't check before I came.
No.
But it is certainly something we can do. And I don't disagree that I'm sure that Southwest Post gets more viewership than we do. However, I wouldn't ever want to eliminate our own website.
No, and
based on
that's certainly not my suggestion, but I think that there's probably a way that we could work in conjunction with Southwest Post that's beneficial to the municipality and I would think beneficial to Southwest as well. If we, weren't making a decision right here today, if we could look into this a little further as to how we could complement each other. Because I think the readership is, and the, if I could just direct a question to Glenn Kirby here, just to refresh my memory. Glenn, what are your hits on an annual basis?
Well, in 2017, we were averaging 250,000 hits per month.
Per month, okay.
Now, I will.
That's spread across some other municipalities too, but,
Right, and I
yeah.
will preface that by saying too, we went to, that was, 2017 largely was a free subscription.
Right.
year. In November, we went to a paid subscription model, so that has impacted, to be totally transparent, that has impacted on some of our traffic.
Right.
However, as I say, a full year was 3.2 million hits in 2017.
So all I'm saying by this is I think that it's certainly worthy of consideration for council to look at how you know, our website and the Southwest Post could work together and complement each other. Personally, I don't think we can afford to get full-blown into this partnership yet, but that's, again, a personal observation.
I'll to kind of throw my 2 cents into it. I think there's some merit to having something like that, but at the same time, until we know exactly what our updates are gonna be, our new view of our website, I don't think we can give it much consideration until we know what we're gonna have after this is all done. And I think that's gonna take the majority of this year, I presume.
Your worship, certainly making some changes to the website will help. I don't know at this point then whether you would be considering the blast out that we're going to do through Alert Ready, et cetera, whether or not that's considered to be views or hits or just additional communication. So I'm not sure that we're gonna kind of compare oranges to oranges or apples to apples, but it's certainly not to say that it isn't something, whether it's a case of keep this in mind for the 2019 budget to see if there is something we can do, or if council wants to do something before that, I'm prepared to work.
Okay. Councilor Rowe?
Chairman, my suggestion would be is that we not rule this out until we get, maybe until we see what our website is, if we can get the hits on it at our next meeting to see where we're at, if we could just table this resolution until our next meeting. The other part of that is, you know, at administration's discretion, in advertising, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to consider doing some advertising with Southwest Post, because there is pretty solid readership throughout the municipality. But I would suggest that we consider tabling the resolution until our next meeting.
So we have to put a tabling motion in,
So I've got Councillor Rome moving it.
okay? Anybody want to second it? Councilor Bach? Discussion on the table motion? I don't know, if, I'll say this part of it, as far as tabling it. I understand that. When we looked at, I don't know if anybody has really looked at Joni's submission as to what this definition of where we can advertise, as far as our board meeting, I'm not board meetings, go ahead, Joni, help me on that one.
The legislative requirements.
Yeah, legislative requirements, it doesn't qualify for that, so that's an issue, but in any case. So, all in favor of tabling? Against?
Okay, so then the main motion is back on
Okay.
the floor.
Okay, so I have a vote on the main motion. We want to read the main motion again?
Be it resolved that the proposal from Southwest Post be accepted, whereby funds will show as an over expenditure to the advertising budget.
All in favor? Opposed? Defeated. Okay, Enbridge proposed pipeline crossing and approach request. Be it resolved that the 5-year agreement with Enbridge Pipelines Incorporated dated January 26, 2018 be amended by including the request from Evolve Surface Strategies Incorporated, acting on behalf of Enbridge, dated March 1st, 2018 for Northwest 26-718W and Southeast 22-717W, March 2nd, 2018 for Southwest 25-718, and March 2nd, 2018 for Southeast 36-719 West, and that Schedule A to the agreement be deleted therefrom, and the attached Schedule A be attached thereto along with the related drawings. Wow, I got through it all.
You did.
Have somebody please move that? Councillor Bach, seconder. Councillor Gullett. Discussion? Councillor Rowe.
This, Mr. Chairman, to Public Works. Darcy, what have you had from Enbridge with regard to a response on their open cuts on the dirt roads?
They sent back an amended schedule. They proposed to use additional open cuts on undeveloped roads, meaning dirt roads and whatnot.
But what's their intention for you know, for usage of those roads, because a lot of those roads are needed in harvest and so on.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's where we have it in the agreement that they have to contact us prior to doing open cuts, so that we can, like you said, potentially if there's fields that need to be harvested in that area, or that need to use that road, that.
Because we have, as a landowner on the pipeline, we have in the past had problems with that, where you've gone to a specific field and there's been pipe across the road or whatever, and you can't get into a field to try and harvest it. So I think it's important to stress to them that any landowner, they can't leave that open and take the weekend off, so to
No,
speak.
and that's where we have it in the agreement that they have to notify us to prior to any open cuts, and we have to inspect it prior to that. Like you said, mitigate any potential issues with access to adjacent fields.
Okay.
Any further? Call for the vote, all in favor? Carried.
The next one, your worship, I would suggest that we not consider at this moment. We've got a letter from our insurer to the people who were affected by the water main break. We haven't yet heard back from our insurer as to what their findings were, so I would suggest that we not consider the matter until we have heard a response from the insurer.
Okay. Under general business, be it resolved that variation application V1/18 to reduce the minimum size area from 80 acres to 59.97 acres for the residual property on part of Southeast Quarter 27/8/19 WPM as submitted by Colin and Patricia McKay be approved without conditions. Can I have somebody please move them? Councillor Rome, seconder. Councillor Buck, discussion? Councillor Buck?
My curiosity is, how come it's not a rectangular? I'm just curious why it's not.
Well, we sort of tried to follow the tree line,
Okay.
and it's not a perfect rectangle.
It's just my curiosity that it's not a triangle.
That's what it is, Neil, we're just trying to follow the tree line.
Okay, no, I looked at it, I studied it. Why can't you just make it a triangle?
I think municipal planning asks you to do that, not to take in farmland as well.
Yeah, they don't want, that's right, that's exactly right. Yeah,
No, that was just the only question.
okay.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that conditional use application number C1/18 to allow on part of the Southeast Quarter 27/8/19 WPM a non-farm dwelling in the agricultural general zone as submitted by Colin and Patricia McKay be approved without conditions. Now, somebody please move it. Councillor Block, second by Councillor Rome. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Your turn.
Okay. Next, under general business, is an approach request. This is for property that is located on Southwest Quarter 12/8/19, and they are looking to purchase the property and move a home in, and they are going to need access. So the motion is, whereas council at its meeting held October the 19th, 2016, adopted the following motion, which was that transportation policy be amended whereby any installation of culverts or building of approaches would be at the owner's expense. Therefore, be it resolved that in accordance with transportation policy number Trans 001, the request by Gary Froese or Phrase to build an approach at the property located at the Southwest Quarter 12/8/19 WPM be approved subject to the construction meeting municipal specifications and all costs associated with the construction being at the owner or applicant's expense.
Could you please move that, please? Councillor Rome, seconder. Councillor McDonald, discussion? Not call, okay.
Your worship, is this the one, Darcy, with, you had a concern with water?
No,
No.
no.
That's it.
That's the next.
Okay.
Anything else? All in favor? Great.
Proposed tiled drainage project on the north Northeast 6817. This is Next Gen Generation on behalf of Spring Valley Colony. So whereas information has been received from Next Gen Drainage on behalf of Spring Valley Colony with respect to the proposed tile drainage project located in the Northeast 6817 West. And whereas the proposal has been reviewed by the Public Works Manager and concerns were expressed with respect to possible flooding on Road 43 North, therefore be it resolved that Next Gen Drainage be advised that, and I've kind of left it open. I thought we would probably need some direction from council. And there is a possible suggestion from our Public Works Manager as to how this possibly could be mitigated.
Yes, the outlet on this particular drainage, actually, it dumps into a stream that essentially borders Road 43, the Trees Bank Road, just before the meth van. It actually comes right up to our road shoulder for quite a distance, and then it veers across and it cuts across Road 100. So I'm not too sure. They're talking 900, a potential of 900 and some gallons per minute flowing out of there at full capacity. Whether that, could be less, could be more. I just have concerns of adding that extra water, and in a high water year could potentially have an impact on that Road 43 in the shoulder. So I'm not too sure if there's a different way to mitigate it. Maybe put a floodgate on the release or on the outlet, gate that would stop flow during if it's a flood season, stop the fields draining off, and then after the water passes, then you can do a slow release.
Well, there's been problems in the past in that spot there
Yeah.
with washing culverts and,
Yeah, it was pretty high in 2011.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
year, so.
Have you discussed that with Water Services as far as, or have they approved it? Because I don't see anything here from them, but do they have an approval in place for it, or?
Not as far as I'm concerned yet.
Yeah. Because I mean, we're getting these drainage applications almost every meeting now, and in this case, there's probably a couple on our agenda. I don't think it'd be stretching it to say that we really don't, any of us here have the expertise to know for sure what the problems coming along with that could be.
Is there
And
some we can put in
in
here?
that-
I'm sorry.
In that situation, I'd like to see, some, at their expense, obviously, some input either from an engineer or looking back at flood situations over the years or whatever, see what they can come back to us with so we can make a bit of an educated decision on this rather than just,
Like I said, my only concern was we don't know what the outlet
Yeah.
capacity could be, and
Yeah.
how will it impact our road?
Yeah.
I'm just bringing it to council. That's my concern.
So if we put in this resolution, do we go back to Next Gen and get a further qualification as to the volume of water and if it can be capped in the flood year? Can you do that? Would that be, would be maybe a next step?
I think we almost need an independent, as long, Next Gen's, they're kind of in a conflict of interest situation here where they want to get it done.
Yeah.
So-
They'll know the flow rate though, won't they? They're saying the flow rate's gonna come down there. They already put it in their paper that it's gonna be,
Yeah, I
So
would
much.
think, if you could put a control structure of some sort to at least stop that flow from the outlet, and like I said, release it when the water level's down in that stream in a flood year.
so I guess that's what I'm saying.
You
Can we
just
tell them
stop
that?
the flow and release it later once the flood's passed, right? So.
Your worship, my thought with that, and the idea of putting a gate on it's a great idea, but from my experience with culverts, we've got some with gates on in different areas, and it's who manages the gate
Yeah.
is another concern. If there's areas where you get one landowner putting whatever it takes to block the pipe, the next one's wanting it to get rid of it right away. So to me, that part of it needs to be managed also.
And that's what we could recommend too, that we have partial control or coordinated control with.
The other option here is just to refuse this and tell them they have to come back with a better explanation of control.
Mr. Chairman, it's a comment, I have concerns about this one too, but Neil and I attended the Waterworks seminar in Brandon at the AMM, and these things are more or less just a courtesy agreement to the municipalities. We actually have no power to stop this stuff. It was made very clear by their council standing up and asking, and they say, basically, it's a courtesy hearing, so you know what's going on in your RM. You guys have no control of it. Which I don't think is fair, but it's,
But we can make pretty strong
Yeah,
representation
we
to
can
Water
recommend
Services
them,
that
and
it's
they'll
going
look at
to,
it,
that it's gonna have a detrimental effect.
yeah.
And I mean, Water Services either
We'll
says
look at
yes
it.
or no.
Yeah, but they have had lots of municipalities down east are standing up saying they turn stuff down the municipal level and it doesn't matter. It's approved.
But, Mr. Chair, generally, you get approval, and even to inform us, the Water Services gives the landowners and whoever's applying approval before, and then just give us a courtesy hearing that Water Services already approved the situation. And we can, as you can, comment to Water Services, your concerns, but that's all it is, it's just our concerns, and they can do the study. Like Barry said, we're just, basically, just to know what's going on in our community.
Like I said, my concern was only because of this particular situation. It borders exactly right beside that one main road, so.
I definitely think we should let them know that we have concerns. I totally agree.
Councilor Rowe?
Yes, I'm not even sure we need to deal with the resolution other than to maybe give direction to Public Works that they go back to Water Services and say, we have concerns, we don't have enough information, and you know,
Request more.
can we get more information so we can better understand where water, because if it's Water Services that's approving or not approving, we need to hear their reasons why. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, they're asking us to deal with it, so we have to deal with it as a council.
Because of the fact, your worship, that it impacts our right-of-way and our road, Mr. Darcy. Because this affects our property boarding the road, they will be looking to us as a landowner. Is that not part of the consideration?
Right.
So a recommendation might be that Next Gen be advised that council's opposed to the application without flood mitigation measures being implemented.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
that sounds pretty good.
Well, or, yeah, and without input back from Water Services as to, you know, how they see this project. Because right now, we have no information from them, right?
I think our concerns are genuine, so I don't know that Water Services has to be brought into it as much as we just have to make our point clear.
Well, I'd like to understand where Water Services is coming from on
Yeah.
this. Like, they're the ones that approve or disapprove. So personally, I'd like to see where they stand on it. Otherwise, we're just taking the word of Next Gen and the information we get from them. And Water Services are supposed to be the professionals. They're supposed to have that.
So I have worded it that council is opposed to the application without flood mitigation measures being implemented and additional information from the Water Services Board with respect to the implications of the application.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to move- we have
You
to
haven't
move the
as of-
amendment.
Well, I didn't have
Oh,
a
that's right, too.
further
Okay.
because I didn't know where council
Okay.
was going to go. So
Can
now
you-
we could get a mover and
Can
a
somebody
seconder.
please move it? Councilor Rome, seconded by Councilor Gullett. All in favor? Opposed? Councilor Bach is opposed. Okay.
While we're kind of on Darcy, just while we're here, I forgot to ask Darcy a question earlier, if I could just do
Go ahead.
that. Darcy, I've had some questions on Road 104 that, between Corey's and Kincaid's, as to what the timing is. It's approved, as I understand it, and you've awarded the contract?
Yeah.
Okay, so
As soon
it,
as the restrictions are out.
as soon as possible, it's gonna get done?
Yeah, beginning of June is the intent, as soon as restrictions are out.
Okay.
It'll be a quick in and out when the deed goes. I
So not-
anticipate probably about 5 days, 4 to 5 days.
It's unfortunate that couldn't have been done a month ago type thing, before the water started to flow. Okay,
Okay, you want to do that one?
I could. Next on the agenda is a request for a resolution from our Member of Parliament So it would be it resolved that the Municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa supports motion 167 to the federal government that states that the Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security be instructed to undertake a study on rural crime in Canada and consider factors including but not limited to current rural crime rates and trends, existing RCMP and other policing resources and policies in rural, remote, and Indigenous communities, particularly in relation to population density, policing geographic area, and staff shortages, current partnerships with provincial and municipal police, possible recommendations to improve rural crime prevention and to curb emerging crime rates, and that the committee report its findings to the House within 6 months of the adoption of the motion.
Somebody please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Bach. All in favor? Carried. So be it resolved that a Wawanesa and District History Book be purchased whereby the related expense of approximately $60 shall be expended from the general office expense. Can somebody please move that? Councilor Gillis, seconder. Councilor McDonald. Questions? Not called vote, okay. Councilor McDonald.
Your worship, just wondering, it says for one book, should we be purchasing one for each office?
No, I think one's good. Myself, I don't know. Joni, do you see any need to have two?
Your worship, it is entirely up to council. As it stands right now, we have been trying to blend our two offices together so that information that would be kept and safe kept would be located in one office. We aren't to that point yet. If council would like us to have two books, we certainly could do that.
Councilor Room?
Mr. Chairman, this is intended to be more of an archive item, right? Joni, was that correct?
Your
It'd
worship,
be something more we would keep as an archive item, and I mean,
Correct.
as far as other copies, I mean, they're available to the public and so on.
yes, yes, this would be one that we would keep within our
So I
records.
personally would say that one is adequate.
Did you want to alter the motion?
No.
Amend it? No? Okay. Anything further? Not call for vote. All in favor? Carried. Okay, be it resolved that Ducks Unlimited be advised that the Municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa has no concerns with respect to the no-break, no-drain conservation agreement between Ducks Unlimited Canada and Earl Martin for property located on southeast quarter 1719 WPM. Can somebody please move that? Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Gullett, discussion? Okay, call for vote. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that Ducks Unlimited be advised that the Municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa has no concerns with respect to the no-break, no-drain conservation agreement between Ducks Unlimited Canada and Earl Martin for property located on southeast half 7718 WPM. That's the same.
Different.
Adjoining
Different.
properties.
Oh, yeah, it's 19 up there. Okay. Can we say, please move that? Councilor Rome, second by Councilor Gullett. Questions? Not call vote. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the utility clerk be authorized to attend the NEPTU training seminar on May 8, 2018 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, whereby related registration, accommodation, meals, mileage, and out-of-pocket expenses shall be reimbursed in accordance with bylaw 03/15. Could I have somebody please move that? Councilor McDonald, seconded by Councilor Bach. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the finance officer and public works supervisor be authorized to attend the asset management training workshop on May 9, 2018 in Brandon, Manitoba, where related registration, mileage, and out-of-pocket expenses shall be reimbursed in accordance with bylaw 03/15. Can I have somebody please move that? Councilor Bach, second by Councilor Gullett. Discussion? Not called. Vote. All in favor? Carried. Okay, your turn.
Okay. This is a requirement for move-ins to have a home inspection prior to receiving a development permit. And the resolution reads, whereas recent requests have been made with respect to moving in older RTMs or homes from other locations into the municipality, and whereas the Office of the Fire Commissioner will do an inspection of external areas, but does not have the authority to inspect all work already closed in. Therefore, be it resolved that prior to issuing a development permit for move-ins, the applicant be required to provide a home inspection report undertaken at their own expense.
Councilor Ivey, please move that. Councilor Block, seconder. Councilor Parity. Discussion. Councilor Rowe.
Chairman, this is normally a home inspection is normally a requirement of the lender with regard to a mortgage. I'm not sure why municipalities would get involved in that. This is a kind of a due diligence of the owner, as I say, with respect to financing.
Your worship, we've had a couple of requests recently, and in speaking with the Office of the Fire Commissioner, where somebody is moving in a new RTM or moving in a mobile home, those are inspected on-site, and the Office of the Fire Commissioner accepts the stamp of approval that is on those buildings. Anytime there is a new build going on in the municipality, the Office of the Fire Inspector is involved, and they have the opportunity to see from the construction point what is taking place, and they're aware of that it's meeting their requirements. In this circumstance, we've got two individuals who are wanting to move bungalows into the municipality. We requested the Office of the Fire Commissioner as to whether or not they would have an opportunity to go out and take a look at it on site. One of the applicants wanted some assurance before they put an offer to purchase in. And in speaking with the Office of the Fire Commissioner, it's not that they would be opposed to doing that, but their authority with respect to the contract we have with them doesn't get them into that point. I did have an opportunity to speak with Chief Gullett to see whether or not a fire inspection report might give some assurances for buildings that are coming in, and his belief was that it would be better done through a home inspection, and the individual with moving the building in had already had that done and were more than prepared to provide us with a copy of that just to substantiate our development permit and the information that we were forwarding to the Office of the Fire Commissioner, who will still come out and do kind of an exterior investigation or review. If council doesn't want to go this route, that's certainly fine. It's just I didn't believe I had the authority to ask or suggest that type of report to substantiate us giving the development permit without having direction from council to do that.
So normally, an owner requests that just for their own satisfaction to make sure the home is acceptable and has no inherent problems. And as I said earlier, the mortgage company can request that as well. You know, taking into account or understanding that there's lots of so-called home inspectors out there, and there's, you know, the varying quality of the inspections is, I'm not sure that we need to be involved in this personally. Like, I think that's the responsibility of the homeowner to satisfy their own situation, but that's just, again, personal.
The history behind this was, remember back, the village had the requirement that homes be inspected by at least by a contractor to make sure that they're structurally sound. Like, they would have been inspected when they were constructed supposedly, but the idea being is that we didn't want to see, say, a 100-year-old building come in that wouldn't possibly meet any building code today, being moved into town and then have to deal with the aftermath from a building inspection point of view. That's the history of this. It's not so much whether the bank requires, any loaning institution requires that, but we just want to be protected as a municipality. We don't see a whole bunch of old and dilapidated structures being dragged into town and then placed on a foundation and then be caught in that sense.
Could you not cover that under your permitting, though? We could, you know, put kind of an age restriction or a construction restriction. Suris has, I think there's Suris or other jurisdictions are looking at it and saying we no longer allow 2x4 construction, whether it be a move-in or whatever. So there's.
We had that under the village. We had the criteria for moving in existing structures. But that is on the book somewhere.
And your worship, again, because I'm working under two different sets of rules. And in this instance, we've got one that is going to go rural and one that is looking at being moved into Wawanesa. I wasn't sure that I had the authority to request this. Our existing permit doesn't ask for it. And I wasn't sure if I had the authority to request it without having some council direction. At some point, I think it would be very, very beneficial for us to do a building standards bylaw that would maybe get into some of those additional details.
I would really like to agree with that point, Joni, in that we have a house that got moved into Nesbitt not that long ago, and the house is just sitting there, and I don't see anything changing with it. I think council needs to consider developing a policy before we allow these types of move-ins so that we have some standardization. It's probably not, you know, and I don't want to make one situation look any less than the other, but it's probably not as big a consideration if it's out in the middle of the country somewhere as it is maybe in town where you're right next door to someone. But, you know, it's certainly something that we should be maybe looking at a standardization on before we, because a home inspection probably just doesn't do it.
Councilman Bill.
Your worship, just with this home inspection, with this makes me think this new home warranty program that they're talking about and stuff, is this somewhere where maybe we would be held not, you know, couldn't be held responsible in any way if we suggest we do this, or suggest
That wouldn't be applicable. It's new home warranty is strictly new home.
it's not.
Newly built, newly constructed. I think more of this is more of a safeguard to make sure we're moving in, or we're allowing move-ins that are compatible with what we want for quality of buildings.
Exactly.
And that's what I get from this. Now, if you do it on a permit basis, you still have to have a permit if you would move an RTM in. But when you have a permit like that, they get an opportunity to inspect it as it is either being built, or they get the qualification from the builder. In this situation, we haven't got either. So I understand where Jody's coming from. Is this a perfect thing? I don't think it is, but at the same time, we should be doing something to maintain, either it be through a bylaw or whatever, to do that. Maybe this is a stopgap right now until we do a bylaw properly. I don't know. Councilor Buck.
Mr. Chair, and I'll make reference to the one in Nesbitt. I think, as council, we overlooked the fact that there was no foundation or a basement to set it on, and it stood up in beams. I think when they should be getting a permit, these two houses have a permit for a basement or something to be built, so we know it's gonna be structurally in place in an area.
Your worship, the two that are in question right now, I don't believe they have an intent of building a basement. I believe that they're intending to put it on a solid foundation.
Okay, maybe we'll make reference, not a basement, but a foundation that required a permit.
And your worship, with respect to the one in Nesbitt, I do believe that was the original intent.
But it didn't
hasn't-
happen.
No, it hasn't happened yet. And to be honest, somebody giving me a copy of a home inspection report, it's only as good as the paper it's written on, but to me at least, it gives me a little bit of assurance that people are doing a bit of due diligence before they're moving out.
Councilor
You know, does there seem to be a lot of urgency on this, or?
Your worship, there certainly is on these two. The offer to purchase and the decision to move is coming up pretty quickly, and they would like to have the opportunity to do that. And as it stands right now, I don't have authority to not allow them to do this.
So do we have the authority at a minimum of saying, and again, with respect to that one in Nesbitt that's sitting there, in saying that a building permit will be issued after the foundation of whatever type it's gonna be, whether it's a slab or a crawl space or whatever, after that is in place, so that we know that it's not gonna be just parked on the property? And do we have that authority?
Your worship, I believe that the Office of the Fire Commissioner, when it's going to be placed on a foundation, they will get involved with the foundation portion of it. Where they won't get involved is, you know, taking the drywall off the walls to see what kind of wiring or whatever.
No, but I mean, you know, in other words, the structure cannot be moved in until there's a foundation in place. Yeah, do we have that authority?
Not in the way that our current development permit is. Our development permit allows for them to move something in. And at one point where we would have had our own building inspector, of course, we'd have been kept aware of that. The Office of the Fire Commissioner is very good at ensuring that we are kept apprised of where they are on any of the permits that they are issuing. So in order to move in and live in the home, they're going to have the foundation there.
Yeah.
It doesn't give us the assurance that they don't move it in tomorrow and not able to put a foundation under place until September.
So right now, we have no, we can't turn it down in any respect, is what you're saying.
I don't believe
The
we
question
can.
being is, for example, if Party A bought a lot, they don't actually require a permit, they just want to store a structure on there. If they've got no intention of actually installing it, nothing stops them from parking it.
Correct.
Which is the case in the Nesbit situation. Like, they did claim they were going to move it in there, but apparently it turned out that it's just a storage lot. So that's-
What's unfortunate about that situation is that we could have controlled it as a council because we owned the property. So
Yeah,
we
we
could have
sold
put
it.
we could have put a caveat on it saying, but we
And
didn't.
There
So it's-
was the offer on the table that they would get their
Yeah.
rebate had they built
Yeah.
before a certain date.
Within 18 months.
So they forfeited that amount. So it was kind of thought at the time that that incentive would encourage that to.
I believe that was the discussion, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing further? So you want to read that?
Therefore be it resolved that it should be prior to issuing a development permit for move-ins, the applicant be required to provide a home inspection report undertaken at their own cost. And we have a mover and seconder.
Seconders, so we're just looking for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Counselor Arnold opposed. Okay, be it resolved that the survey as circulated be delivered to each property of the municipality for return to the municipal office by no later than, and I
We
think
did 30
30
days.
days. I think. 30 days, and this is in regard to the rural water co-op, and everybody's got a copy of that survey. Can somebody please move that? Have a mover? Okay,
Your worship, do you want to move it?
I will have to move it, I guess. This is my seconder, Councillor McGullet. Discussion? That's Councillor Rome.
So I would ask that if this does get approved, that to save the taxpayers the costs of mailing out to every individual household, that council strongly consider including it with tax notices, which would go out in June, Joni?
June or July?
I think, how many households are there? You did a mailing not too long ago.
We did. Now, we're hitting all the rural areas. I think we were at about 1,100 that maybe we printed.
So, you know, roughly $1 a shot or just over. So rather than spending another $1,100 or $1,200 on mailing, if council would, if this is passed, if council would consider amending it so that the mailing is done with tax notices.
You wish to make that amendment?
Yes.
You consider a friendly amendment?
Now, your worship, I did have it worded in such a way that it was going to be delivered to each property. We hadn't specifically said that it had to be mailed. We have certainly found that it's a little more cost-effective to have it printed and distributed through the post office than what it is to be mailed to address mail, but I would certainly take direction from council.
Okay, so.
But right now, we have it for distribution for mailing with the tax notice.
Okay, so be it resolved that survey is circulated and delivered to each property in the municipality for return to the municipality no later than 30 days following distribution for mailing with tax notices. agree to that. You agree as far as the seconder goes?
Sure.
Okay. Then. Counselor Buck?
Is this the one that you had at that forum meeting with you and Mike Sitko had a conversation about? The 51%?
This is the one, yeah, this was at the January 30th, we said it was gonna bring out, and, be sent and be 50 plus 1, that's right.
And that's when Facebook came out with the interpretation that it was gonna cost about $20,000 to $30,000 for the water, for the hookup?
Well, there's been a lot of numbers stated on
But
it.
is that the one that was on Facebook?
I think that's part of it, yeah, that rural water co-op, yes.
And is that the one where I feel that some of the ratepayers were discouraged of taking the survey because of the tainted information that was put out there?
Well, that'd be your interpretation.
Well, okay, my interpretation, the tainted information that was given out there?
Well, that could very well be, I don't know. I'm presuming that
talking
people will
rate-
understand, but,
I was talking to ratepayers after that information on, I can't remember, it was Facebook or Southwest, like, they were making the references, and they said they couldn't literally afford it, and I said, what do you mean you can't afford it? He said, well, there were these $20,000 to $30,000, and I said, well, where did you get that number from? He says, we have not even discussed numbers or what the costs were. In my due diligence as a council member, went and investigated it with the water stewardship and water co-ops. Apparently, there's about 6 water co-ops, and not one of them has cracked the $20,000 mark. So the 20 to 30,000, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, at the last council meeting, somebody made reference that it was a fair assumption
a fair assumption.
that this was within the ballpark figure, a 20 to 30?
No, I don't think that's, no, I don't think that ever happened in this council meeting, but as far as all the information put forward on the January 30th, that's not right? January 30th meeting, was that it would be, Whitehead had done it for 17,000.
Yeah.
It did go up to 20,000 for those that signed on late, and that was only strictly as a penalty, rather than to say it would cost, because the cost was still limited to 17,000. They made money with the $3,000 additional for the municipality. That's the numbers we were using at that time. I don't think that, any other number that came up was either through hearsay, through not constructive information as far as
Well,
I'm
there was
concerned.
no factual information.
No factual information.
So I think just to add to that, the numbers that you're talking about relate to from the municipal road allowance into the yard, is that correct?
No. If you look at Whitehead was right to the house.
Well, that's what I mean, though, the hookup.
From the
would
main
be-
line to the house.
The hookup would be from the main line out at the road
Yeah,
allowance
yeah.
to the house.
Yeah.
That's the cost we're talking about. So there's been no consideration given to the cost of the infrastructure.
No,
the
that's
main-
all part of
The
it.
main infrastructure.
That's all part and parcel to it. In Whitehead, there was a total cost of it was $17,000 per household, and that included everything from the well to the water treatment plant to the piping. That was Whitehead, and there's been several others, and I think if you talk to water services, that's what you get to. Yes, Councilor?
And I was talking to Water Services, and they're talking that the federal government right now is going to offering 60% to the water co-ops for water treatment, and the rest is going to be divided up between the homeowner and the province. So we've even done better than the other program. So, and this information that information didn't even get out to the public for discussion, because all I heard from a couple of my ratepayers is that, well, we're talking at $10 million, that's a substantial amount of money, we can't afford it. But nobody indicated to them of the government grants that were available, which is,
Well, you don't know what's available until,
well, right now, federal government's putting out 60%,
That's only been announced over the last.
2 weeks.
last
But prior to that was 50%.
Right.
And 25 and 25.
Yeah.
But even, Mr. Chair, even that information was not brought out to the ratepayers of this municipality.
Right, that's true.
They were told millions of dollars, and we as a council or municipality can't afford it.
Well, that water co-op meeting was put on not by council and
No,
not
it
by
wasn't.
any individual. The water co-op meeting was put on by the mayor and gave the information there. I wasn't at it, so I don't know what the information was given out, but the information was given out through Mayor Kreklich at that meeting. And that was up to people to interpret how they wanted to interpret it.
If I'm not mistaken, and just to correct that portion, the water co-op meeting was brought on by council. It was agreed by council to have the meeting.
Correct. From the water, from the rural ratepayers who wanted water.
Yeah, and notice was sent out to them. that
I
they
think
were
it
gonna have
was,
this.
it was chaired though, and the information that was given
Certainly
out
chaired it.
was by yourself. Anyhow, we've got a motion before us.
Okay. You're happy with that? Yeah, Councilor McDonald.
I have a question, just for getting back to actual numbers. So if, and this is to do with this, we got two things, we got a survey here, but we don't know what we got people that are gonna vote on, or send information back on a survey, but they have no idea what their cost might be, so if we did a feasible study ahead of time, it would answer some of them questions and then do the survey, right?
Well, and I think that's,
Well, I think Mayor Kreklich told the public at that meeting that there would be a survey done prior to spending any further money. So are we going to say one thing and do another, or are we going to do what we said we'd do?
that's up to
And I think you did say that, did you not, that there would be a survey
I
done prior to?
did say that, yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. But now, you switched everything around, Councilwoman. I want to make sure that we have clarification. First, you said that it wasn't anything to do with council. Now you're saying council is bound by what I said because of that meeting. You
Well,
said it
you-
was my meeting, now you say it's council
Well,
meeting?
you are the spokesman for council at that meeting, and that was
Okay, so-
your meeting.
And I agree with that.
You
and
put
I-
forward, and I've heard this from
That's-
numerous ratepayers, that Mayor Kreklich clearly stated
Yes.
that there would be a survey done to gauge interest before there was any money spent
That
on
was
this.
stated that night. That was
Yeah.
stated that evening.
So,
Well, I'm not
I
saying
think
anything
it's just
different.
important that we stand by what we say, rather than get to the council table and try to change it so that we're spending taxpayers' money when we said we wouldn't.
Well, that's what we're here to. We're here as a council, and we're not, we have to make decisions on the basis of all of us, so. I am not the leader as such to say that I'm the prime minister of this organization. I'm here as the mayor. I got one vote, just like all the rest of you. Councilor Gullett.
I'd just like to make a couple statements. As far as this survey, it's, with all the information and talk that nobody has any idea what the numbers are, it's a total waste in my opinion. That night, I will admit, I agreed to the survey after being approached by numerous residents of the South Ward who all need water very badly. I am gonna change my mind. I think we should not pass this survey, and I think we should pass getting the real feasibility study done, and then take it to the people with real numbers. Because right now, all we're doing is going around and around and causing discomfort in the municipality. That is just my statement, and that's all I got to say on it.
Appreciate it. Anything else?
No.
That's, all in favor of doing the survey? Opposed? Defeated. Okay, so,
Want me to do the next one?
go ahead.
Donation of placemats. Be it resolved that 250 placemats be donated to the Nesbitt Community Club for its spring breakfast to be held April the 22nd, 2018, whereby related expense of approximately $50 shall be expended from the general office expense.
Sorry, please move that. Councilor One, second by Councilor Gullett. Discussion? Councilor McDonald?
Your worship, is this something we can do with our own copier or our own paper from in-house, or is it something we have to
Your worship,
source from somewhere?
it has always been done in-house.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Well, donations. You want to go down on the list, I suppose, eh?
I could, your worship, if you wouldn't mind me giving a little bit of
Okay.
an update on where we are. So the way it was set out this year was that there is $8,000 in the current budget for general grants. And I don't have my paper sitting in front of me. The general grants that were given out last year are shown under the 2017 grant column, and I'll just grab my information. Okay, so the general grants came under account number 510, 500, 500. In the budget this year is $8,000. And when I add up the amounts that are currently listed there, if you stayed with the amounts given in 2017, the total is $5,550. So there are some organizations that weren't funded previously. So for instance, Wounded Warriors, Katie Cares, the Stars Foundation, those are all new requests.
One thing I have is the Wawanesa District Community Hall. There's only
Can we not go there just yet?
Okay.
Simply because if we dealt with the first one, it is the $8,000 allocation, and it kind of allows us to take a look at that.
I'm sorry, that's a specialized one, isn't it?
They are.
Excuse me.
So if council wanted to consider these kind of line by line, or if there's any changes from last year's that you would like to put forward, recognizing that we're working within the $8,000 budget, Elaine and I will try to capture what your intentions are.
So you want to go down individually?
We could.
At Bridges, $200. Kids Health Phone, $200. Kids Sport, $200.
Now, their request this year is for $300, but the calculation I made was based on last year's funding.
Okay, so do you want to increase it to $300? Councilor
Mr.
Dow?
Chairman, so if I'm reading this right, we would roughly have about $2,500 extra we can add to these lines?
Correct.
Okay, in my mind, it wouldn't be bad to keep 1,000 back, because we always get things trickle in as the year goes on. So, like, I would have,
Keep that in mind.
if it comes to that one, if we're doing line by line, I'd have no problem giving the 300. That's personally.
MAD, we gave nothing. Anybody, Rick, RCA Museum, we gave $300 last year. Leave it at that. There's no request from them.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like to see that probably, we give something to MAD. I mean, I think they're doing some pretty worthwhile work. I'm not sure how we never dealt with that before, but
Do you wish to make a suggestion for an amount?
$200.
Cirrus Glenwood Ag Society, $200. St. Paul's Anglican Church. Did I not see something on that?
They're trying to shingle it, are they not?
Yeah.
It's for ongoing restorations to maintain its historic character.
Historic.
Didn't we get a letter on that?
Yeah, there was in our package
In the
here.
grant package, I believe.
So my question there would be, I know it's a heritage site. I guess that's what the motivation is it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're not giving money to other church organizations.
The money is strictly for upkeep of the structure.
Yeah, they don't, it's not used that much, but it is a heritage site, so, or a structure, right?
I wonder if we have extra money, if we should up that, like when they're trying to shingle it this year, or?
But they didn't make a request, not for this, so.
Yeah, there was a letter, I can't
What did the
remember what.
letter say, though?
I don't know if there's an amount in there, just was a request.
But it has to prove anything here, did it? There's nothing in this month's.
So I don't think there was an amount.
I'm gonna have to flip, because
No, there's no amount in it. It's just stating that it's the oldest building in the village and
Yeah, just restoration.
it's maintenance work there. The roof is what they're working on. It says any grant funds would go directly into the roof project.
Do you wanna make a additional? It's up to you guys. To me. No? Leave it at 250? Okay.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing that maybe being 500 this year if they're trying to put a roof on the place, but that's personal opinion.
If they don't do the roof, they won't have much left. That's,
If they haven't asked for it, it may be not all that necessary. It's a little hard then next year to say, we gave you 500, but we're gonna go back to 250 or whatever.
Well, I think that's all of them are like that, though. We don't have to give it.
No, but we tend to at least give that amount. I don't think, in my little term on council, I don't think we've ever omitted anyone that we've given money to the year before, but.
if there's a year we're gonna give a little extra, I think it's a year when they're trying to do the roof, because it's pretty important in the whole building, that's all.
Okay, want to vote on each individually then?
maybe on this one simply
Huh?
because there seems to be some disagreement.
Yeah. Who's all in favor of taking it to 500?
I have to abstain from this as a member of that
Oh, yeah, okay.
congregation.
All in favor of taking it to 500? Anglican Church? What is that? So opposed? Okay, we'll take it at 500.
Okay.
Yeah. Community Gardeners, 250. History book, I'm not sure they need this
I'm
year
not
because
sure
I
they do.
think they're done.
Yeah, I think they are as well.
So I don't think they need money this year from here.
So that's gone?
Are you talking the history book?
Yeah. They need money?
He hasn't got a publication Oh, there it is. No specific amount.
Okay, so maybe I have to leave it then.
At 500?
Yeah. Lioness, nursery school, that's by, it's over here, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's worth supporting even though they didn't ask for it, but that's just personal.
That's pretty good stuff though. We care, take care. 1,500. Academic bursaries, are those in line with other municipalities? Anybody really pay attention when you go there?
I think they're pretty, pretty much
Not very
aligned.
many municipalities do donate to the academy.
Those are right.
One
It's,
went
it's
on-
mostly organizations.
Mostly organizations.
Legions and Lioness
I
clubs
can,
and
I
that.
honestly admit that I'm proud to be there as a municipality to give the presentation.
Good.
Because even Cornwallis doesn't.
I think
I
it's
think it's good.
important for
It
us.
is important.
Okay, 500 each for the three. National Wall of Remembrance. I don't know what that is.
Your worship, that was a request that came in last year. They were building a memorial, and I don't believe we received any request from them this year, so I would suspect that that means that they've
It's
either,
all done?
yeah, either it's finished or it was abandoned.
Okay. Ronald McDonald House Charities. It's a good charity, but
Yeah.
Can we do a couple hundred of that one or something.
200? Somebody make a suggestion.
So did we get a letter from them, Joni? Is there, I don't recall.
I thought there was
Yes.
something from them.
Yes, it's kind of a general letter.
Yeah.
It doesn't request a specific amount, it's just a request out to municipalities to help support.
So did you say, Bob, 200?
I'd say yes, but
Kids soccer crew in Nesbit? Well, we do the grass cutting. We should
But a
keep-
letter comes
And
through today
it
to
did
that
come
effect,
through,
eh?
yes.
But they're looking at buying a lot of equipment. I wouldn't be,
Well, can
I was
you give us
wondering
some
about
money?
250 plus mow the
Plus
grass
some
like
more?
we did last year.
I believe that's what we did last year, was 250
Yeah.
plus the grass mowing.
Plus the grass mowing?
Okay, 250.
It was a little confusing the way it was written here.
Yeah.
That it's, yeah.
I'm sure it was 250 plus
Plus,
the
yeah.
in-kind.
Take quite a little list of, because they're
Yeah.
getting so many kids, they need more equipment.
Yeah. It's a good one for kids. Crime Stoppers. We send I support McGuire's crime thing, and we don't put Crime Stoppers on our list. Well, okay. Wounded Warriors?
Your worship, that was a new request
Yeah.
this year for the first time. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's kind of an advertising opportunity.
Oh, that's right.
And it may have came in
Yeah, it must have been.
a couple of
Yeah.
meetings ago, I
Yeah, I
believe, and
think
we were
that's
going
right.
to refer it to
Is that
this
money
consideration.
Advertised or something?
It was for advertising in there.
And it had separate columns, if I remember right.
They did.
So much for,
Like a quarter page.
yeah.
Wonder what that was?
I don't have it here.
I think it's a great cause, and we're very close to a fairly major
Yeah.
thing. I think we should be putting something into it.
250?
50?
That would probably get that ad or whatever.
I think it
I'm
will. I
guessing.
think that there's one category at 250 in there.
I thought so as well.
Katie Cares, and this is the one in
Warden or Winkler?
Winkler. Nonprofit organization. This is where people can stay, and we've had people from the community stay there, going for hip and knee surgery.
Yeah,
So that's how we got started with that, because they brought the information back that they thought it was a good thing to support.
250 again?
So do people that stay there, do they pay a daily rate?
They do, it's very reduced, it's like $40 a night, sort of thing.
So why wouldn't, and I've been through this, where we use the facilities outside that the nuns had outside of St. Boniface Hospital, where you can stay there at a reduced rate when you have a family member in long-term care. Is it a case where the people that are using it can't afford to donate a little extra to help this cause out? I mean, that's probably not a bad way to go either. I'm not sure that council can get into all of these things. Ronald McDonald House, huge, because that's for the kids. But I think by the time we get to the stage where we're getting a hip or a knee replaced, hopefully most of us can afford the cost of staying overnight.
Did you say amount, Don? Bob, did you say something?
I was saying 250, but I just.
Well, we can vote on it then, just to see who's,
Because we do have a little extra this year, right?
yeah. So, okay, so Bob has suggested 250. Those in favor of 250 for Katie Cares? Yeah, it's 250.
Okay.
Stars Foundation? I haven't seen them around here.
Well, I think if you're looking at worthy causes,
that's one.
if you ever need them and they can't afford to be in the air,
They had 3 at Humboldt.
and you look at the Humboldt situation, and I can
Well,
speak
just
to
last
that.
Thursday, Stars was over between Kimby and Alexander picking up a patient.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, too, the morning of
They're
that,
they're right here.
500 there, don't we?
I'm not sure,
A worthwhile one, for sure.
250 is not, but
I mean, if there's a worthwhile